Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai.
Welcome back to another episode of Kulanu Matters, where we delve into the heart of what makes Kulanu thrive. I'm Molly.
And I'm Boni. And today we have a special treat for you. Guess what time of year it is? Can you tell from our costumes? It's that time of year again. Purim. Molly, do you recognize me in my hat and my eye covers, what do you call them?
Your mask, you're like
My
incognito
mask.
here.
Hey, do you recognize me? What about my bow tie? You like my pink bow tie? Does it
Yes.
go?
You look super fancy here. And even with my pirate mask, my one eye patch and my hat, I figure out who you are.
Guess what? I can't recognize you, so there.
But yeah, what better way to celebrate Purim than sharing the amazing work of Kulanu?
Absolutely, Molly. For our listeners who might not be familiar, Kulanu is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to supporting isolated, emerging, and returning Jewish communities around the world.
Right, Bonnie. From remote villages in Africa to South America, Kulanu works tirelessly to ensure every Jewish community, no matter how small or distant, feels connected and supported.
And don't forget Indonesia.
Yes.
And speaking of connections, Molly, Purim is all about the connections we have with one another and all about having weak people and the losers become the victors. And that's a message that's very, very strong during Purim.
So true, Bonnie. Purim commemorates the events that recounted in the book of Esther, where the Jewish people were saved from the destruction at the hands of the villainous Haman.
And what better way to celebrate than by partying, masquerading, giving charity, and giving out candy and junk food, and of course, performing acts of kindness, which we need to do every day anyway, even when it's not Purim. Mishteh, the word that's used in the Megillah for party, actually means to drink alcohol. And I know a lot of people take that part of Purim very seriously, but my warning is stay sober on Purim. Do not drink and drive, because we know a lot of bad things can happen when people are partying on Purim.
Right, absolutely. Good message. Thanks, Bonnie. And just like Kulanu's mission to support and uplift communities, Purim reminds all of us of our resilience and that in the face of adversity, that we come out strong and win.
And let's not forget about the costumes. Molly, Purim is a time for dressing up, letting loose, and embracing the playful side of us that we sort of keep under cover during the rest of the year.
Right, that's right, Bonnie. So whether you're dressed up like Queen Esther, Mordecai, or your favorite superhero, a pirate, or even a villain like you are, Purim is all about letting your creativity shine. So let's discuss some of the costumes that we've seen in the amazing pictures that we get sent from Purim celebrations from around the world from our partner communities. We can start with Nigeria.
Yeah, so this is a picture from last Purim. It's taken at a school in Nigeria, which was named after me. And I'm so humbled by this concept of the Benita International Jewish Academy. And this is a dress up of their children, some of their children. There's a lot more children in the school for Purim. The second picture is of Nicaragua. And what's really nice about this picture, it's an old picture. And the leader of the community, Kurt, passed away maybe now 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And he's the king in this picture. And it's with his wife, Veronica, and a bunch of the children. They're all dressed up in his home, and his home held the services, and his home had beautiful artwork in it. And it has a Torah, and it had a Torah that belonged to his family, and that they used to have services in his home. May Kurt's soul rest in peace. We really miss him a lot.
What about this photo from China?
Yeah, Kaifeng. You know that Kaifeng had for 1,000 years a Jewish community, and they all assimilated in. And now we're reconnecting with some of the remnants of that community. This is an old picture of them dressed up in China. Would you believe
Right. I
that?
love the poor mats and the purple hair. Very fancy and festive. And India, I believe that was during your visit, right? Those
Yes.
paper
So
mats.
one of the reasons how my husband and I got involved with Kulanu was that Harriet Bograd, may she rest in peace, said there was an opportunity to visit India and teach there. And my husband and I, we were sort of empty nest and looking for a new turn in life. And we went to India and to a rural village, and we met with the B'nai Ephraim. We taught there for 1 month. And every day we either taught a different holiday or we taught a life cycle event. And this was what we did for Purim. I mean, this was a very poor community. They had paper and markers, and we had the children make masks for Purim. And that was our Purim activity that we did there. The next picture is
Indonesia.
yes. And look at those feathers. The
Yes,
feathers
beautiful.
coming out and the feathers all over. They're dressed, I believe, in Maasai native costume. And I think that's what those pictures are. And for anybody who wants to watch us on YouTube, it's magnificent the way they're dressed for Purim.
Yes, and we have a new Megillah that's on its way to the community in Indonesia right now. So it was dropped off with a volunteer last month in Queens in New York City, and now it's making its way all the way to Indonesia. So it should hopefully make it there in time for Purim.
That's one of the things that Kulanu does. It collects Torahs, it collects Megillas, it collects mezuzot from synagogues and shuls and places that are giving up their shuls or merging or have extras or whatever, and we send them around the world. We usually don't get Megillas, and if somebody has more Megillas, we would love to have them.
Very true, Bonnie. Very true. And the last picture we have is from Pakistan.
Now that's an amazing group. We have lots of pictures from Pakistan. This one we picked out because it's sort of interesting. It says Purim on it, and the community goes to great extents to celebrate, even in these times of sadness. I know around Hanukkah, they sent me a question saying, should we light the menorah on Hanukkah, which was at sort of December, a few weeks into the October 7th war. And I'm sure this year they have the same feelings of, should we be celebrating Purim even in this time? I bet all the communities, including myself, how happy can we be giving the situation of what's going on in the world today? It's not only the Israelis or the Palestinian sufferings or the Ukrainian sufferings or the Russian sufferings or all the other massacres that are happening around the world. It's very hard to be happy. But you know what? The Jewish tradition always says that the communal celebrations should override all kinds of sadness. And my guess is that the rabbis vote unanimously to celebrate Purim in appropriate ways, even during these sad times.
Very true, Bonnie. Yes, that's a good question for your rabbi, but I think that many people agree bringing the community together is really important, especially in times like these.
let's talk about Hamantaschen. Do you eat Hamantaschen?
Of course, I make hamantaschen every year even.
You do.
We do, yes.
Yes, I stopped making Hamantaschen years ago. Do you make it with prune or do you make it with poppy seeds?
Both. We get about 4 different toppings and everyone kind of picks their own and makes them. Typically they will kind of explode. So you always have to remember, put a lot less in than you think you need.
Oh, do you make whole wheat ones?
No, just regular.
So do you know the origin of Hamantaschen?
Well, I thought it should kind of look like the hat, 3-cornered
Oh yeah,
hat,
there's a song
right?
about the hats, right?
Right.
The Hamantaschen and hats, right? But I actually think that it comes from mun, which in Yiddish means poppy seeds. So it's a play on Haman, okay? And Taschen means pockets, like bags. Okay, so they're little pockets of mun, which is a Hamantaschen. But I also suspect, though I have never read this directly, that when you cook the poppy seeds, you might get a little high because they're opium-based, right? So Hamantaschen with poppy seeds was the original. And it seems to me it's really suiting for the Purim holiday.
Yes, that's very funny. Very, very interesting facts. So that looks like that's all the time we have for today. But before we go, we wanted to wish all of our listeners and viewers a happy Purim filled with joy, laughter, and lots of hamantaschen. And don't forget to look at Kulanu's website, kulanu.org, KULANU.org, to learn more about how you can support the incredible work that's being done around the world.
And tell us about, I think we're going to have an upcoming Passover.
Yes, so we are going
fundraiser?
to be having a Passover fundraiser. So we're excited to announce that on Purim. So the Passover fundraiser, you can go to kulanu.org/give. So it's KULANU.org/GIVE. And that will be our Passover fundraiser so that you can give funds to help our community celebrate the next holiday together.
And I'm wondering if we could put on some more photos here of communities celebrating Purim, since there are a few minutes left here. And I'd like everyone to really consider sharing this podcast. Molly, would you like to tell the importance of sharing this podcast?
The more people that listen, share, and like our podcast, the more it goes up in the different algorithms. So by you watching it and sharing and liking and telling your friends to watch it and share it and like, we'll get more and more people to find out about the work Kulanu is doing and learn about the different communities around the globe, which is really important to raise that awareness, that people understand that there are many different ways to be Jewish, many different types of Jewish communities all around the globe. So it's really important.
Yeah, I'd like to remind people that today I call us Diversity Central, because we at Kulanu really have the diverse Jewish experience. It's not only diversity in country, it's diversity in peoplehood and in people of color. And if anyone wants to deal with anti-Semitism in all sorts of communities, there are answers and there are ways that these communities are dealing with them as well. And I want to wish everybody a happy Purim. And thank you, Molly, and thank you, Scott, for helping make this a wonderful podcast.
And for one bonus we have for today's episode, we're going to start sharing different items. So if you want to email podcast@kulanu.org, we will send you a copy of our online magazine. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Kulanu.org, so it's KULANU.org/donate.